Got a cracker coming up for you now. Yep, the atmosphere is still fake. Well, no it's not, and yeah, I feel it all the time. I feel the Muppetness that is Sleeping Warrior. So, with the help of Professor Phil Bell, we are going to debunk The Atmosphere is Fake, featuring Sleeping Warrior. You're going to enjoy this one. Professor Bell, thanks for joining us today. What are your thoughts on Sleeping Warrior?
Every time he has a brain fart, he does a video, Sleeping Warrior, trying to debunk science. Even without a science education, he makes out that he's better than Newton, better than Einstein, better than anybody, and these people are all wrong and he's right.
I was quite amused. Anthony Riley thought that there was some equivalence between the world being a sphere and the world being flat. What are your thoughts on that?
The Earth could be a globe or it could be something else, but it's probably flat. Well, no. It's only one thing, Mr. Riley. It's demonstrably a sphere.
I know, right? What a muppet. So he's got a rather interesting approach towards science and the people who have given us the laws and the things that we use in order to work out the properties of gases. Any comments for Riley on this?
First of all, what are you saying here? Jacques Charles, Robert Boyle, Guy Lussac, Robert Dalton is a fraud. These are some of the finest people in science. All these people have conspired to fool the public. That's your contention. Well, if you really think that, then you're a moron.
Yeah, moron, muppet, I don't think there's a lot of difference really. Okay, well, let's have a quick look. He's going to have a look at one of these tools on the internet. Let's see how he handles it and see what he has to say. Come on, Riley, let's see what you got.
And we've played with this before. Planet, temperature. Right, so first off, you have to knock off the gravity because we know gravity is an effect.
It seems that Mr. Riley is asserting that mg, that's mass times gravity, is not a force because g is not a force and m is not a force. Together, they are a force. This is consistent with Newton's observations, and this is also consistent with Einstein's observations. In terms of Einstein, mass bends space-time, and because space-time is bent, other things and drawn into the swell. So this drawing, for all the world, looks to us like two objects are attracted to each other. Maybe you just confused, Mr. Riley.
And we know that the temperature varies, but it's really cold in space, but there's a massive differential between the vacuum of space temperature and our temperature.
There's no temperature in space, Riley. It's a vacuum. How can there be a temperature? The only temperature you've got is in your spacesuit or in the spacecraft that you're in. And if you're not in anything, then, well, you're dead anyway. But, Riley, there is no temperature in space. If you're in direct sunlight, then you're getting roasted. If you're in shadow behind a planet or something else, then you're freezing to death. And you don't lose any heat through conduction or convection. You only lose heat through radiation. So if you're not touching anything, and if nothing's touching you, it's going to take you a very long time to get cold. Okay? Oh my gosh, you're a muppet.
So we can basically turn that up, and basically it's not misrepresenting what happens, because we know what happens. We know the fact is the atmosphere is a lot warmer than it is in space. But that,
Riley, you do make yourself look like a muppet. Oh really, you need to go back in your cage and stop this stuff, because it's completely obvious you have no idea what you're talking about. Temperature in space, I think we've been there already. Can you stop it? You're being a muppet.
that's what happens on their model. Not only without gravity being a force, but that's what happens because there's no containment. That's the multiplying by infinity. You are literally seeing what happens with the multiplication of infinity.
Now, I noticed a tendency for this program to get rather silly. Now, I do my best to keep things moving along, but I'm not having things getting silly.
Being completely silly. It's gravity that forces it to be contained on the Earth. You switch off gravity and there's no containment. So, yeah, let's just move on from this because this is silly.
We know what happens. It immediately fills the volume, and that's why it says immediately pop goes your model. This is the fact of gas pressure. This is what really happens real world, and it kills the heliocentric model.
That's I don't know what to say. This is wrong on so many levels. I don't know what you're talking about. If you want to comment below and give me some suggestions of how Riley is wrong here. But basically, that vacuum there sucks it in because work has been done to create the vacuum. Enough said. Again, silly.
Atmospheric pressure doesn't need a container. Why are you incapable of understanding that? 21 morons had liked that comment.
Yeah, I'm with the 21 morons because you don't need a container because it's contained by gravity. Yeah, good comment there. I liked it. Well done. I might go back and find that and give it a like myself.
Ben Adams, no, the pressure decreases. Why doesn't the atmosphere rush up towards the top of Everest? High pressure goes to low pressure, remember? Yeah, only on your model.
Here before, Riley, when you go up a mountain, the pressure goes down. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else to say. It's not a model, it's reality, and you're not living in it. You're a Muppet.
Dragon Ball!
What did I say in my last video? Don't mess around with gas pressure. You're gonna hurt people.
On your model, you have the 14.7 at sea level, and that is pushing up. And the 13.7 psi above it is also pushing up.
It's pushing in all directions. The pressure is caused by the weight of gas above, but the resulting pressure pushes in all directions equally. What a Muppet.
Weight's defined as mass times little g. Little g isn't a force, so what are you multiplying? Fuck all?
Here he is, calling these people frauds and then citing their work. How does that make sense even to you? My advice? Stick to what you know. Science is not for you, obviously.
Nobody said little g is a force. Well, actually, you all say it's a force. It's acceleration. Right, so if a mass accelerates, then it's a force.
Professor Bell, any comments for Riley here?
Maybe you just confused, Mr. Riley.
Vlad, it's time to jump in here. I think you've got a comment for Riley. Yeah, what do you got to say?
You see, it just ain't nothing but a bunch of hogwash. It just ain't nothing but a bunch of hogwash.
We know what it is. It's relative density. It's the amount of disequilibrium. That's what governs the vector, the speed, the magnitude, the direction. All of it's controlled by disequilibrium.
What was that? Was that a sentence? Don't sentences have to make sense? If you have any idea what he just said, please explain it below. I'd love to understand it. But that yeah.
Do you realise gases do not have intermolecular bonds? Their mass is limited to the molecule mass. Basically, it's a massless particle.
I think sometimes that you create these videos and you just do it to make yourself look like a right Muppet. And again, I don't know where to start with what you're talking about. What intermolecular forces have to do with weight, I have no idea. And why are you showing an image of methane? Most of the atmosphere is nitrogen, so why would you show an image of methane? You just completely show that you're a right Muppet and you have no idea what is going on around you.
The only weight that you can get away with is mass times little g. Well, we'll give you little g just for shits and giggles, but what mass have you got? You haven't got any mass. You haven't got any intermolecular bonds to create a mass.
It really doesn't get any better than that. That there are no intermolecular forces and that gases don't have any mass. Brilliant, Riley. Really great. So we've come to the end here. There isn't really any more to squeeze out of this video. A good case of Muppetry going on there. I'd like to thank Professor Phil Bell for letting me to use some of his video in creating my own video. Thank you very much. I've put a link to his channel below. Go have a look. He's got some good stuff on there. I think you'll enjoy it as well. Well, thank you for staying with me for this video. I've enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you have a good New Year and a really positive and great 2020 for everybody watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. You'll find the buttons below. You know where to go. Have a good one, and it's been a pleasure. See you soon. Bye.